I think it should have been about 16 years ago, when I was called. I mean, a friend invited me to be part of a jingle production company. So he said they were having auditions, and then I went for the auditions, thinking, okay, yeah, at least I was in year 2 then, school, and then yeah, I just felt at least it would be good enough to make some cool cash because I could sing then, and of course I knew my voice was baritone, but I didn't really know what it was all about. So when I got the auditions, they picked me like almost immediately, right? So I started. In fact, the next day I had a job with them. I can never forget. It was V Mobile. I can remember the line I sang on the jingle. So when the guy here was hearing me talk, that's the person in charge, he said, you should be doing voiceovers too, And then the guy just told me to go into this booth to do 1 or 2 things. So I mean, those are things I used to do, recording tapes in those days when we had cassette tapes. I record, talk to it, So I feel like I was just being goofy. I went to the studio and they were like, this guy, you're really good. You have a very rich texture. And I said, yeah, I hear that a lot of times. So he said, you should try voiceovers. So that's how the journey kind of started. And then when I knew that this is serious was when I was the vocals, the male vocals, and the voiceover behind the popular Sky band, Saying Yes to Your Dreams. That I wish in Sky band, that was my voice.
That was your voice?
Yeah, that was my voice.
That was your voice?
Yes, that was my voice.
So you have bank money.
Now that's where the story is,
Listen to the wishes of your heart.
It was rumored to be Nigeria's probably biggest art so far, I mean, people loved it. It was loved by millions of people. You sing it anyway. I mean, I can never forget the day they were doing an old school service in church and that ad played. It was like a worship song. The whole church got up and went, and I was like, wow, so your voice has traveled this far, So those things humble me a lot. However, it was more like people that hear my story will tell you that it was like I was cheated, for that particular work. I only say the price I was paid in my class, that's where I always say it. Like when I say it, but I wasn't really well paid, and it wasn't like I got exposure from it, right? It was just the fact that I knew that was my voice and nobody could take it away, and I was going to tell anybody that would care to listen, right? So that was where it started for me. And then I started from there. I started researching about the business of voiceovers. I started understanding the real depth of voiceovers and, being a voice talent commercially, So I learned a lot. I mean, after the Sky One, I did, hundreds of commercials, documentaries, audiobooks. I had a brand consulting certificate, from Orange Academy. So I did brand consulting. And because of my brand consulting experience, it gave me like a helicopter view of the industry itself, So I wasn't just doing voiceovers, but I was seeing brands on one hand, and I was seeing voiceovers on the other hand. So it was very easy for me to marry both of them. And how your voice is most important to your brand, right? Because I understand the dynamics of brands. It was in my room. My wife was on bed, and I told her, I said, I want to start an institution for voiceovers, and I want to let this knowledge out, because nobody's telling these things. Some people I told were like, this guy, would like bringing out ideas that don't make sense. Which one is voiceover, A lot of people, some people, I couldn't blame them. And the kind of person I am, I have a thick skin for rejection. So when you tell me, I can't work with them, well, I won't fight you. It's probably like fuel for me to move on. So I told my wife, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I think you can try it. Let's go for it, So about 2 weeks after that, we designed a flyer. I just said, I'm going to do a class, It was myself, Diola, Adibi, Uncle Lekon, and Wind and Ari, 4 of us. And yes, it was a class, just
Diola
one class.
was it.
Yes, Diola was there. Diola, I just spoke to them. I spoke to Wind first of all. Wind was like, man, this is beautiful. Let's go for it. Uncle Lekon was like a mentor, you know. So he's like, I will do it for you, you know. You are my guy, you know. Diola was like, wow, never thought about it like that, but you know. So and Diola had been doing voiceovers. In fact, we used to meet in studios then, you know. So that's how we started. We had one class. The first class, we just wanted about 20 to 25 people. We got about 40 people, you know, in that class. So that was a big point at her. You know, God was trying to tell me something, but I was like, maybe it was a fluke, Jerry, you know. Can you imagine? You know, I said maybe it was a fluke. In fact, I called it the voiceover master course with the brand master, right? So, I mean, I just probably thought it was a fluke, you know. And then we now said, okay. And I said, oh, Holy Spirit, well, he said, do it again. The same thing. So I did it again. We just wanted, that one, the class could only take about 20 people. We got about 35 people or so for that particular, the next class. And then from the money from there was what we used to register the VoiceOver Solutions Limited, right? The money from that particular training, I remember, was what we used to register them, because I was like, wow, this thing actually has prospects, you know. This is our podcast and content studio. Yes, so basically, well, we're still setting up. We have some equipment coming, like our reception, basically, and then this is studio.
Good afternoon.
Actually, that's.
I love blondes. I love blondes.
300 to 300 students.
Wow.
We're starting out with our content. You know, well, this place is why we can turn to anything. You know, we worked widely. About 3 weeks ago, we just concluded a job for a company in Italy. You know, they sent us a brief from Italy. We've gotten a brief from China. I'm telling you, we've worked for people in the United States. We've worked for major brands in Nigeria, from Access to Wema in fact, for Wema, we're the one that produces most of their commercials. We just finished for Imar in Dubai. We work for. The clients are actually, sometimes I get, you know, like overwhelmed because there are a lot. We've worked for Rent Money. We've done for Providence Bank. We've done for Murtala Muhammad Foundation. We've done for, we've worked for so many clients. Honestly, corporate, Keystone Bank, we've had them a lot. LIRS, Loma, you know, we've worked for major clients, and we're most grateful, I mean, for the work they give us. We've worked for all that consulting as well. We work for UTL trustees, you know, we work for a lot of brands. There were times where, you know, I had to, so for example, because of my reputation in terms of voiceover, a lot of people just call me, Shobo, I wanted to do this. So as at then, of course, the company was just starting. So I would do a voiceover. I get paid as SEUN SHOBO, but I still give it back to VoiceOver Academy. You get what I'm saying? Because it's the company, it needs to be invested in, right? So that happened for a long time, you know. I had to deprive myself, you know, and make sure that the company as a baby then, you know, grew. And thank God we're seeing the growth little by little. But it was tough. But what helped me to move on was the fact that I could literally see the growth. You know, it wasn't like I was just investing in a basket. I could see the growth. It was, you know, there was a slow growth. It was coming. I could see people's lives touched. For example, the academy has graduated over 400 students, you know. And most of them now, in terms of the industry, the people that are really shining right now, are most of the students that we have produced. That's the truth, without boasting, right? And then when it comes to, I could also remember one day, myself and the studio manager Femi were in my car together, and we're just driving, and I was even on this road, this Ikorodu road we were driving, and between Yaba and Anthony, our ad played about 5 times, right? That's from different brands, So for me, I was like, Femi, this is telling us something, we're taking over. 5 different ads played between Yaba and, which said a lot to me. On one station, not just different stations, on one station, there's so many times we will just sit down in my car and we just put on radio and we just hear our ad and we just laugh, especially when we remember the stories behind or how we got the talent to really, and with in all humility, at least 40% of people, the talents that have come through this academy, most of them have gotten jobs over and over again. Some of them have gotten jobs of hundreds of thousands, $500,000, like that, So apart from the fact that I even see it much more as a social investment or social business, social impact business, because apart from the fact that you're making money, people are also being, remunerated for their talent, right? Just by also coming to the school, especially people that probably had given up on the craft or didn't know what to do with their craft, So it's been a challenging, but it's been a very, very rewarding journey.
This is the Voiceover Academy. It's been a huge pleasure being here, and I must confess, I've had an amazing time in here.
My experience in the Voiceover Academy has been awesome. I saw myself grow. Would I recommend it to someone else? Definitely.
It's been wonderful. I have been affected personally.
I came here because I wanted the intensity and thoroughness of being in a class with professionals and facilitators who know what they're talking about. I'm telling you, I got way more than what I expected.
C'est la première fois qu'on arrive dans une école pour apprendre à vendre sa voix. C'est donc la start-up Voiceover Academy qui est la première du genre en Afrique.
I must say it was such an enlightening and transforming time for me. Before I came here, I just knew I had a good voice, but I didn't know how to put it to use.
The Voiceover Bank is, we call it Africa's largest pool of voices because we have at least 300 voices on our bank, such that when clients, and that's our strength, when clients ask for voices, we're able to send them a variety of voices for them to choose from. So when they choose those voices, then I'll say, oh, for example, if I send OJ's voice, I send Digi's voice, and I send Femi's voice. And they say, OJ, I want OJ's voice for that. So for example, you can say you want an epic voice. So we look at our files and we see the epic voices in that place. So if it's OJ, Femi, and Digi, you send those 3 voices, and then you pick OJ. Let's say the client said, I prefer OJ's voice because it's the one that will make my, the voice that I feel can communicate what my brand is saying at this point in time. So we then call OJ and say, OJ, you have a job with us. Sometimes the client says, oh, we want you guys to write the scripts, so we write the scripts from top to bottom, send it to them, they approve, and then we cast the voices that we think can, get that message out there, because basically it's all about the message, and the voiceover artists are the messenger, and they must give that message in such a way that the consumers are able to take action, especially when it comes to commercials, right? So whatever it is, audiobooks, narrations, e-learning, animation, that is the process most of the time. And then from there, we record. When we record, we send to the client. If they're okay, we take it. If they're not okay, they send back to us and say, okay, please can you correct here, 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 here. We do the corrections, send back to them, and you know, we get paid. You know, everybody goes to sleep. But we've had the reputation of the fact that, you know, we hardly have corrections, you know, because we always kind of get it head on, you know. Also, the fact that, like I said, the whole helicopter view of branding makes me actually very finicky and meticulous about how the message is passed, you know. So I won't just use any voiceover talent. I always look at the person that can deliver it, you know, that the person's voice that can actually deliver that message, which is why most of our commercials, or most of the commercials we've done, people have seen the results. You know, it's not just doing commercial for commercial's sake and putting it on radio, but do a commercial such that it speaks with the voice of your brand, right? Or that voice is very similar to that of your brand, and then, you know, it is making the consumers take the action that you desire. You know, what I'm trying to do right now is actually trying to expand, you know, my international reach. You know, as that 2 or 3 years ago, I was in the US and I was able to network. I went for the world's largest voiceover conference. I was able to network with some of the biggest names in the industry. You know, I mean, I'm well in connection with them right now. But what I want to try to do now is try to make sure that I can penetrate through that market as well. You know, I'm trying to see if I can get more animation gigs from there, as well as commercial gigs. You know, not just for Africa, but even abroad, right? So I want to be part of that big league as well when it comes to the voiceover. Of course, I want to take the African message as well, because we have a story to tell. You know, we are great storytellers in Africa. So I want to really, really push that narrative. I've started, especially with the Voiceover Academy. People have seen what, you know, we're doing here in Africa. So I'm trying to see how we can push that narrative. For the Voiceover Academy, it's going to be from now till, you know, till forever and ever. Well, the next vision is actually the Voiceover Village, and the Voiceover Village is actually supposed to be a large expanse of land where people can actually, creative people can actually come. So, for example, you shoot a movie or a documentary and you want to premiere it, right, for the creative industry alone. I'm not talking about the public. You know, let's meet at, you know, the cinemas at the Voiceover Village. You know, there are going to be Charlottes where people can come, like a resort, like a creative resort, you know, where people can come, just chill, have a great time. You have a creative retreat, you know, agencies have creative retreats. That should be the ideal place that they're coming to. You know, of course, a bigger studio with different equipment, all the equipment possible, recordings, you know, a quite serene environment, and then leisure as well, pool and everything. And then, of course, now expanding into different parts of Africa as well, you know, because this is Nigeria. We're taking over a bit, but we still have, you know, many more states in Nigeria to cover. We have, like Abuja, for example, they've been disturbing us to come over there. Kaduna, you know, because you've had people come from those places. You know, people have come attended from Kaduna, people have attended from Ilorin, people have attended from Abuja, people have attended from Calabar, people have attended from Uyo. So some of those places we want to go there, you know, and hold some of these courses. And then, of course, we look forward to partner with brands, right? Because one of the things that also hurts me is the fact that I see some talented people, young people, some of them on the streets, you know, that I say, this guy will be fantastic voiceover material, right? And there's some people that we've put on scholarships here, but some of those people, if brands can support us and put them on scholarships, you know, so maybe a brand gives us maybe like 20 million and says, for the whole year, I want you to, you know, to bring some street boys to come learn this thing, right? Honestly speaking, we can do that easily. you know, so some less privileged people that can also empower themselves. Because even this voice, like I told you, when I was in year 2, that's why I started doing voiceovers. I always have promptings in my spirit like that, like, you know, it's time, you know, you've done your time in this place, let's move. You have to expand, you know, because this thing is touching more lives, so you need to expand, get it bigger. I want people to see my excellence through this work, right? So I don't see this as my business. I don't see it as my business. People use the show thing, oh, you've done a great job. I don't see it as my business. Like I always say, the next MD is already set, you know. If you met her, I don't see it as something I want to die on, you know. I see it as I see myself as a servant. I see myself as an incubator that God has given the vision, and I know that other people will carry it. I mean, if you hear the stories that people say about the Voice of Our Academy, you obviously know that's beyond me. So yeah, that's Voice of Our Academy, the Voice of a Bank. Mr. OJ, thank you for coming. Thank you for giving us the privilege to be your.
You didn't talk character.
Yeah.
Wow.